Hi, I'm here with Amanda Armstrong, our assistant concertmaster of the Virginia Symphony, and we're talking about our upcoming concert this Saturday and Sunday. And it's always great to have a musician with me because then I can ask them questions about how they feel about the music too. I mean, I've chosen because it's music I love, and I hope they will love it too. And then together we'll hopefully play it in a way that the audience really feels they've heard something special. But it's a difficult program, isn't it? I mean, it's a challenging program.
It is, very much so. First of all, there's a piece that none of us have ever played before, which is the Schmitt. I don't think any of us have played it before. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into that because we don't know how it's going to sound. We don't know how it's supposed to sound or fit with the other instruments. So there's an extra amount of preparation that goes into doing a piece like that. But I did get a recording of it, and I like it very much, and I think the audience will too. So we're excited about it.
Good. Well, that already says a lot. You know, and a lot of our musicians do that. They listen to the piece so that they can have a real sense of what it's about. Schmitt is a very important French composer, but people don't know him. And the tie in the program is one I thought was interesting. We sometimes try and have a little theme. And this is two pairs of lovers, Antony and Cleopatra and Romeo Juliet. So the Schmitt deals with Antony and Cleopatra, which is a tragic story, of course, ultimately, but Mark Antony, the great Roman general, falls in love with Cleopatra and forgets everything about Rome and moves to Egypt and eventually, of course, kills himself, and Cleopatra kills herself too, rather than being taken prisoner and brought back to Rome. But the music is very beautiful, very romantic. And then the second part of the concert, another romantic story, Romeo and Juliet. Now this you have played before.
Yes, but we don't play the Berlioz version as often as the more familiar Tchaikovsky or Prokofiev versions that people are used to hearing. And I was thinking while I was preparing the Berlioz, which is also very technically difficult, how different and absolutely unique Berlioz's interpretation of Romeo and Juliet is. For instance, he devotes the whole section to Queen Mab, which was sort of an aside that Mercutio is just talking about during the actual play. And it's not as overtly hard on your sleeve as the Tchaikovsky overture or the Prokofiev ballet. So you get a very different take on what love means. To a man like Berlioz, who is very different from either of those composers.
Very different.
It's good to immerse yourself in it.
It's fun for us to do music that we don't do too often, but I mean, certainly this was a piece that Berlioz loved, partly because he was in love with a famous actress, Harriet Smithson, who was a Shakespearean actress who came to France to play Juliet, and he was overwhelmed. I mean, he had just learned of Shakespeare. It was just around the time when Shakespeare was being translated into other languages so people could read these unbelievable plays, and then to see this beautiful actress playing Juliet, well, he fell in love with her. So this piece is a little bit of that, you know, passion that he felt for Harriet Smithson, whom he eventually married, and it's wonderful but very difficult music.
It's very difficult, and it's interesting because Berlioz was basically a romantic composer, but a lot of the things that he writes are not at all conventionally notated or the type of chord progressions or rhythms that we're used to playing from that era. So it's very surprising, and it jumps around a lot. You can tell the kind of person that he was.
Crazy.
He was in love with her, but he was crazy. He was obsessed. It was that obsessive love.
Yes.
So it's a different take on it, and it totally comes through in the music. And it's difficult to prepare because just like it's difficult to follow a crazy person when they're speaking, it's sort of difficult to, oh, okay, here it is. So
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, you know, when we have music this difficult, we rely on the musicians coming to that first rehearsal totally prepared, and then we use the whole week to try and fit it all together.
Right.
This is not easy to fit together. Something like a Tchaikovsky symphony, which we did a couple of weeks ago, everyone knows. They have it in their ears. But this, you know, I know you'll be sitting there, you know, Amanda's always listening to everything that's happening, trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this work with the woodwinds or the brass? How do we fit together? And that's really what rehearsal's all about.
Absolutely, yeah. I think our previous concert was a lot easier because it was very familiar territory for us. Though at one time it wasn't, and I was thinking about this because my son Byron has just started youth orchestra just had his first rehearsal with the Bay Youth Orchestra last Monday.
Congratulations!
Yeah, it's a big moment, and he came out of that rehearsal completely overwhelmed and said, "Oh, I'm not ready for this. I don't understand what's going on." And we said, "Byron, every one of us in the Virginia Symphony felt that way once. The first time we played a Tchaikovsky symphony, we were also overwhelmed and lost, but by practicing over and over again and developing the listening skills and the ensemble skills necessary, you get to a place where it's extremely gratifying and fun."
Well, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
at the end. I mean, you remember how you felt as a young player playing a concert and that feeling of
Oh,
satisfaction, right? I mean, Byron will
great.
feel that way too.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing better
Yeah.
than creating beautiful music with fantastic colleagues, and that's what we're going to do this weekend.
Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about yourself because people see you on the stage,
Okay.
and they hear you in solos too. I mean, you played as soloist several times. So, tell us a little bit about your life. I mean, your entry into the Virginia Symphony, and how your life has changed since then.
Well, it's changed quite a bit. So after I graduated from Catholic University in Washington, D.C. in 1996, and I just remembered at the time thinking, I don't feel like going straight to graduate school. I'd like to just take a few auditions and see where it gets me. And I think this was the second audition that I took. And it was easy because I could drive. I'm from Northern Virginia, so I drove down here. I remember driving down 64, and then when you get to the bridge tunnel, and it just opens up and you can see all this water.
That's amazing.
I suddenly got so excited, and I said, "Oh, I really want to live here," and that was inspiring for the audition.
And you what?
Well, here I am, and then a few years later, Vaughn and I started dating and got married and had the 2 boys and bought a house and the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So this is very much my life right now. It's
Well, what a happy life. I mean, to live together and to make music together and to be in the same orchestra and now have your children, your sons, getting involved in music too. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It'll be our 10th anniversary this October, so I can't believe it. I don't know where the time has gone.
That seems, wow, I can't hardly believe it either. I think a lot of times our audience, they wonder how the musicians feel when they're playing for an audience. I mean, and I don't think they always realize how much we want to communicate with them. So maybe
that's
you.
absolutely true. I think there's something intangible that so many times we try to talk about this, but the audience is really part of the experience, and we can feel their presence. We want to be with them. We want to communicate, especially when it's music that we feel passionate about. Just really want to give it to the audience, to share our experience together. If it wasn't true, then we could just play rehearsals.
That's right. And there's something so different about the concerts, right?
Yeah.
Just the feeling of the audience, of the orchestra giving everything to the audience and trying to wrap that music around them. It's so special to us to have them there.
And we have special audiences here in Hampton Roads. Everywhere we go, I mean, we really feel the support and love from our community here. It means a lot to us.
Well, you heard it from our assistant concertmaster. It's going to be a great concert, 2 very romantic pieces about Romeo and Juliet and Antony and Cleopatra, and in the middle, one of Mozart's most beautiful piano concertos. So we hope that you'll be with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you.